Hey, I'm pissed. Hope you're ready for an angry rant why I hate phone calls. And I wouldn't make the claim that phone calls always necessarily sucked. But merely the nature of the game changed so much. But let's just go from best to worst. So what would be an possibly okay a phone call to receive? You know them. It's possibly casual. And most of all, it is important, right? It is something that really worth it to come ahead of everything else you're doing. Because it's not just necessarily going to be the time, but also your thoughts lingering on this thing. So I'm not sure this is like in this category, but like it's getting closer to the green. You know, I get this. Like, there was a reason for this call, but this gets worse. So suppose you know them casual, and if it's like not important, or it could have been a text, so let's just place it over here. It is kind of squarely in the negative camp, but like, yeah, you should be making this a text. It really doesn't need to be a call. If you're a kind of person who thinks that whatever your thing is the most important thing for everyone else, just stop. Just don't do that. But oh boy, we're just warming up. And so much worse than that would be just strangers. Truly, it should be way below this, but let's just put it over here. But they are irrelevant. So they might call you, but they don't matter, right? So this is just really annoying. But it's not like a big deal. Ideally, you want to live a life where you don't have to pick up phones, I guess, from strangers. And it sucks so bad because considering that you might be hoping to get a call from someone you don't have a connection with, but this means that you might be picking up a bunch of calls from strangers you don't want. And this can get so much worse. Now, we're gonna have still strangers, but it gets so much worse. So, strangers, but also important. It's also high pressure. They could be recording. They are kind of sitting in front of the computer and trying to get you to say the right things. And if you don't say the right things, then you lose. If you misspeak a little bit, I guess you lose too. And they might just try to call you at any time, right? This could be like important matters too. So many times you might pursue something that are technically free, right? Like you have a right to that, but it might take 50 hours of bureaucracy, maybe more, to possibly even get through that. And if they find anything wrong with it, I guess you're screwed. And if they want to fail you, or they're trying to kind of get to you, then they're gonna call, right? I mean, we know this intuitively. If you want to convince someone or you get them to rip up, you wouldn't be sending them a dry message and like, oh yeah, get it right? You have like 1 year. No, you call them up. It's like, hey, what's up, man? I'm your biggest friend, man. It's like, you can tell me anything. I'm so positive. Well, you tell me the good things. Oh yeah, that thing, by the way, just tell me that. Just right away, just improvise it. And there's no way to communicate in good faith. You would have to be like, oh yeah, I would have to get back to you about that just to make sure that I have it. Like, oh yes, that thing. Oh yeah, I would need to verify that information. I don't have that information on me right at this moment. And if you don't communicate like this, then they're gonna get you. You're gonna be strangled to death. Hope you love interrogation techniques and high pressure sales. We'll just go with sales here. If you say anything wrong, obviously that's gonna be used against you. So recordings, and keep in mind these are recordings that they might have, that they use in their favor, but you don't have. And even if you did have, right, you can't use that recording. The only way to possibly get out of this is like, kind of insist on like, hey, can we do this in writing? And obviously the answer is gonna be no. Even if you say like, hey, me can talk good, it doesn't matter. They're gonna get a guy to possibly talk good for you, right? If they want to get to you, it's gonna be a call. Or possibly it's gonna be face-to-face, but even face-to-face is kind of different because the power balance is a little bit more even, right? Certainly they might invite you to their lair and they all sit behind computers, ask you stupid questions or like, oh yeah, then they shut up for like even a minute at a time. It's like, oh yeah, just tell me the thing. It's like, oh yeah, he doesn't know that. My computer knows that though. They wanna cause mistakes, cause anxiety. Of course, it depends on how vulnerable you are to these. But you don't even need to cause anything. It was like, they could just ask something so random and that most people would never ever know. Yet if you don't, then I guess you lose, right? You gotta keep in mind that I must emphasize this point that they can be anyone, right? They can just call you up, ask you about all your details, but they can be anyone. And if you don't do that, it's like, oh, well, you didn't respond to the official call or something. It's like, yeah, man. It's like, what the fuck, man? Do I look like some kind of moron who just like some random calls me is like, hey, what's up? It's like, it's your best friend Bob. So about your personal details, all of them, I'll be taking that. You think that's not it? That's it. Because and they are gonna act like your best friend. They learn possibly if they're good, then they are gonna be positive. You feel like you can talk to them. They no doubt read all the interrogation books, all the sales books, and they're gonna use it to get to you. Of course, if you see that, then like, oh man, you're doing that? That's kind of messed up. And the only way to win would be to not play on their battleground, not play in their mosh pit. Because people tend to rig their game in their favor. I've won many times, well, not that many, against like bigger entities, but it doesn't tend to happen over the phone because you're gonna say something stupid. You need to carefully consider your options in text, and if you can, just stick to that. Because if you say something stupid, that's gonna be used against you. If you not say something right, that's gonna be used against you too. But most of all, you don't have any evidence. Like, you just say whatever. Of course, you can try to insist on text, but it will not matter, right? Because kind of people choose their way of communication based on kind of what they want to do. They're gonna send you a dry text if they are looking to twist your arm. They're not gonna give you something simple and throw you softballs if they are looking to treat you fairly. I'm sorry to say, but if you're being called by strangers, like 99 out of 100 times, the game would be that you get screwed. And the remaining one would be like wrong number or something. But also, it's such a mess. It can invite so many misunderstandings. There are just two people talking, right? Yeah? Even if both parties conduct themselves in good faith, there are going to be misunderstandings. And possibly things taken badly. So it sucks. You would want a text, right? And then it can be ideally not between just two parties, and now everyone can see what's up. If they don't like the idea of a text broadcasted to the entire internet, and they more like the idea of a one-on-one roasting session, they plan on roasting you. The fun part is that even if, let's suppose it's an important matter, right? And it can be a phone, or it can be something else. Most likely it's not going to be a text. Why? It's probably going to be some kind of you get in here, I'm going to sit behind a pretty high desk and sit on a high chair just to look down on you. I'm going to sit behind like a big ass computer, and then we're going to grill you or something. Because it's always important to pick the battlefield in your favor, I suppose. And the only way you can counter this on the other side is to kind of sound like a politician. You're an idiot, I guess, but that's probably not going to work out. Now, I'm not claiming that this mindset necessarily would reflect on most people, but it does reflect on the people who are calling randos. So ideally, you would want to live a life where you don't have to pick up phone calls from strangers. It's such a waste of time too. And that is perhaps would be the most common case of it. Like, let's even suppose that this wasn't, let's just use the general word bad, right? Let's just say it wasn't bad. It was still a waste of time, man. So companies could be guilty of this, but most of all, governments could be super guilty of this. Now you have an excuse, so everyone can waste their own time. The agents are kind of wasting their time. Everyone's time is wasted. And this is such a crucial factor if the entire system kind of hinges on people's time getting wasted, I guess. So maybe they're gonna give up, right? You know what would be the perfect government? Nothing ever gets done. You're just thrown into a bureaucracy hell until you give up. There's literally no carrot at all. Just mere bureaucracy. And even if you get the carrot for a little bit, you're gonna get back into the bureaucracy loop. Till you get to the point where you would say, no thanks, I would rather jump off a bridge. Yet, let me emphasize, there is nothing wrong with phone calls. simply, most using them officially are total jackasses. And they're kind of instructed to be. The performance review would be evaluating people based on how much of a dick they can be to other people while acting super cheerful, I guess. You know, it's like, oh my god, I'm your bestest buddy, man. But the game is simple. If you want something, then the point is to get you gone. Just lost completely. Waste your time forever. But if it's about money, man, oh my god, the bureaucracy will disappear. It's gonna be like speed. You can pay instantly, but support takes years. But I don't know what is the solution here, other than possibly not picking out the phone ever. But apart from that, you're just getting called by strangers who could be anyone, but they kind of expect all the information from you and expect all the right answers. And if you don't give it, then I guess you're screwed. If you mispick, then you're screwed. Of course, they record everything. And the truth, that it works. They wouldn't do it if it didn't work. But of course, working in this context would be defined as working to get people lost or get more of their money. And that's it. I don't think there's any winning. I aspire to live a life where I don't have to pick up phones from strangers.